All right, let's get into one of the wildest true stories you've probably never heard. It's about a guy who completely changed the world with one simple, brilliant idea. And then he tried to take on all of Wall Street in a massive winner-take-all fight. His name was Clarence Saunders. His company? Piggly Wiggly. And here's the crazy part. Every single time you go to the grocery store, you are literally walking through the world that this man built from the ground up. But this isn't just a success story. Oh no. It's about a fall from grace that was absolutely spectacular. So how did the guy who basically perfected modern shopping try to spring a perfect, totally legal trap on Wall Street, only to find out who really calls the shots? Okay, so to really get this fight, you gotta understand the fighter. And let me tell you, Clarence Saunders was not your average suit and tie businessman. This guy was a total force of nature. Saunders was the classic American outsider, a self-made guy from Memphis, and he was famously colorful, super cocky, and absolutely sure of himself, and he did not hide his money. Nope. He celebrated it with these huge, over-the-top spectacles. The most famous one? He built a mansion almost entirely out of pink marble, the Pink Palace. You see, this wasn't just a house. It was a giant statement to the old money establishment, basically saying, I'm here, deal with it. But here's what's so fascinating. Underneath all that flash and bravado was a true world-changing genius. I mean, think about it. Before Piggly Wiggly, shopping was a total pain. You'd go to a store, stand at a counter, and have to ask a clerk to go get every single item for you. It was slow, it was inefficient. Saunders just flipped the whole thing on its head. He said, let the customer do the work. You walk down the aisles, you pick your own stuff, you put it in a basket, and you pay at the end. It sounds so simple now, right? That's because he invented it. He literally invented the way we all shop today. And he didn't just have the idea, he perfected the system. This shows you just how meticulous his brain was. It was a fully patented, high-octane efficiency machine. He patented the layout of the store, the turnstiles that made you walk a certain path, the whole checkout system. He even patented the shopping basket. You know, the one you use all the time? Yeah, that was him. He basically created a blueprint for a money-making machine that could be copied anywhere, slashing costs and just changing the entire game. So as you can imagine, Piggly Wiggly explodes. It becomes a huge success, gets listed on the stock exchange. And that's when it gets on the radar of a very different kind of predator, the Wall Street speculator. And the weapon they decided to use against him is called short selling. So what is that? Well, to put it simply, it's a bet. A huge, high-stakes bet that a company is going to crash and burn. These guys, they called them bears on Wall Street. They don't build anything. They profit from failure. Okay, so how does this even work? It's kind of weird, a little backwards. Step 1, a bear borrows a bunch of shares in a company, shares they don't actually own. Step 2, they immediately sell those borrowed shares on the market. Now they're just sitting there, hoping the price plummets. If it does, bam. Step 3, they buy the shares back at that new super low price, return them to the person they borrowed from, and pocket the difference. Pure profit from a price drop. But, and this is the most important part, there's a catch, a huge, unbreakable rule of the game. The short seller has to eventually buy those shares back and return them. It is not optional. As the old Wall Street saying goes, you either pay up or you face ruin. And that single obligation, that's the tiny crack in their armor. That is the weakness that Clarence Saunders is about to drive a truck through. So you've got this epic showdown, right? On one side, you have the bears, the short sellers. Their whole goal is to tank the stock price by flooding the market. On the other side, you have the ultimate counterpunch. It's called cornering the market. That's where one person, in secret, starts buying up every single available share. See where this is going? If you control the entire supply, you've trapped the bears. They have to buy the stock back to return it. And guess what? You're the only one selling. You can name your price. So back in 1922, a bunch of these Wall Street bears look at Saunders's flashy new money company and think easy money. They see him as an easy target. So they launch a full-on coordinated attack. Now for Saunders, this guy poured his soul into Piggly Wiggly. This wasn't just a business problem for him. This was personal. This was an insult. And he was not about to let it slide. He decided to fight back. The bears hit him with a 1-2 punch. Massive short selling combined with a whisper campaign, spreading all sorts of nasty rumors. And wow, did it work. The stock just cratered, dropping from $50 a share all the way down to 40. They were bleeding his company dry, right out in the open. And Saunders, he was absolutely furious. So what does he do? He does something completely nuts, something incredibly reckless. He goes all in. He borrows $10 million. Now, in 1923, that is an insane amount of money. We're talking hundreds of millions in today's money. And his plan wasn't just to save his stock. Oh no. This was about revenge. He was going to corner the market and teach Wall Street a lesson they would never forget. And what happens next is it's a masterclass in financial warfare. Saunders takes that same brain that revolutionized the supermarket and points it like a weapon at the smartest traders on the planet. He's about to set the perfect trap. And his strategy was just brilliant. Look at this. First, he puts out ads everywhere saying he'll buy Piggly Wiggly stock for $55, way above the $40 market price. An incredible offer. But here was the sneaky part, the real genius move. He paid people for their shares immediately, so they couldn't resist. But the deal was structured so the actual physical paper stock certificates were tied up with his agents for months. You get it? He wasn't just buying shares. He was literally pulling the physical paper out of the market so no one else could touch it. And you know what? It worked. It worked better than anyone, probably even him, could have possibly dreamed. By March of 1923, he had done it. He had bought up nearly every single share in existence. Just look at these numbers. He controlled 99.5% of his own company. It was a perfect corner. The trap was set. The bears were caught. They were absolutely, totally trapped. Judgment Day was here. So, March 20th, Saunders makes the call. He demands payment. He's ready to name his price, which could be anything he wants, and basically bankrupt the very people who tried to destroy him. He's on the 1-yard line, ready to score the winning touchdown. And then, the referee blows the whistle and stops the game. The bigwigs at the New York Stock Exchange, they panicked. They realized that if Saunders bankrupted all these powerful Wall Street firms, it could trigger a total market collapse. So, they stepped in. First, they just suspended all trading of Piggly Wiggly stock. Boom, the battlefield is frozen. Then, they delivered the kill shot. They just gave the trap short sellers more time. A multi-day extension to find the shares they were legally required to deliver. And just like that, with that one single decision, the perfect trap was gone. It was worthless. The entire power of a corner relies on the fact that the short sellers need to buy right now. By giving them more time, the stock exchange made Saunders' 99.5% control of the company totally meaningless. The game was over. Why? Because the House just decided to change the rules in the middle of the final hand. You know, Saunders had played their game by their rules, and he had won cleanly. But in the end, he was the one who was about to pay the price for winning. And the fallout, it was just catastrophic. It was total. He was now stuck with that crushing $10 million debt. All that stock he owned, the 99.5% of his company, it was now untradeable, worthless. He was forced out of Piggly Wiggly, the company he built. He lost his famous Pink Palace. His entire fortune, gone, wiped out. He lost everything. This is the best way to think about it. Imagine you're playing poker, and you manage to get all 4 aces. You have an unbeatable hand. But right when you're about to rake in the pot, the casino manager walks over and just says, "Stop, we're changing the rules. As of right now, aces don't count." That's what happened. Saunders played a brilliant hand. He won fair and square, but the moment the House realized how much it was about to lose, it just declared his winning hand void. And really, that's the whole point of this story. It's so much more than just some dusty old tale from Wall Street. It's a story about power. And it leaves us with this really uncomfortable question, one that's just as relevant today as it was 100 years ago. When you're an outsider playing against the House, and you actually start to win, can you ever really trust that the rules are going to stay the same?